to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemical.
Hey guys, how you going? Sunday afternoon now, Maceman Jake Miles speaking. I had a question recently in regard to stretching out, flexibility and strength training. I want to keep this one short. Basically, if you want to get strong, you need to be flexible. Now I'll explain why. Because if you aren't flexible, if you don't have flexibility and you're trying to increase your strength level, ultimately when performing the technique, you might be restricted in terms of your range of motion. When you're restricted with your range of motion, you are very likely to recruiting the wrong muscles. If you recruit the wrong muscles, if you recruit the muscles that are already dominant in the movement and not the ones that are used or are technically meant to be used while performing the movement, you aren't increasing your strength. So basically there's a sequence of why this is important to stretch. So when we start to stretch, we start reducing the amount of tension in the muscle. Your muscles are really tensed up. Basically, it's like they're under a lot of stress, and they just don't want to let go. And the moment you start to move, they jack up and they just don't want to, they pretty much just don't want to let go, okay? And the way we can reduce that is by lengthening the muscle, stretching it out. By stretching out, we're also going to increase the mobility as a result of reduced tension, which will then increase your range of motion. Okay, range of motion meaning that you'll be able to perform the movements with the right mechanics. All right, so if you're trying to perform a squat and you're squatting, your knees are coming in, for example, and your back's rounding up, it's not because you're not strong. It could be because of that. I'm not saying it's not, but majority of the time, the cases that I have dealt with as a trainer, people are like that because they just don't have any flexibility. They're not flexible enough to mobilize their hips in the right direction, meaning recruiting the incorrect muscles. So so basically you're performing the right mechanics, which means that you are recruiting the correct muscular chains, which means that you are likely to increase the amount of strength that you want to increase in the required areas. So if my glutes are weak and I want to get stronger through my glutes and I'm squatting for that, if I'm not squatting with the correct mechanics, I'm very likely to recruiting muscles that are already strong in my body and getting them to do the job that isn't designed for them. It's a bit like sending off a plumber to do a carpenter's job. If you're squatting from the bottom up, not using your hips and glutes, you are basically overwhelming your hip flexors and quadriceps. You're not actually getting the hips to do the job they're meant to be doing. So that's why stretching is important. And obviously progressive overload, learning how to pretty much connect your mind with your muscle, thinking of the muscles while performing the exercise is a big, big thing. I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah, if you wanna improve at your strength training, if you wanna get a lot stronger, stretch out. I'm Jake, peace out.
Waking up to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemical.